Mama, you are most welcome to this occasion. Mama, it's now my singular honor to present to you the results of UACE 2020 for release to the public. Of candidates registered for the UACE examination also dropped, as was seen at UCE. Candidature decreased by slightly over 6,000 candidates. This translates into 5.8%. Proportionally, the drop in the candidature affected the males by 6%, slightly worse than the females at 5.6%. The study conducted by Uneb to investigate the causes of this significant drop in the overall candidature revealed the same reasons as for UCE, namely private schools that failed to reopen, and the students also failed to find alternative UACE centers. 2, the pandemic affected the livelihoods of many parents who then failed to get school fees for their children. 4, students taking on menial jobs during the period of school closure and then losing interest in studying. And lastly, cases of pregnancies and early marriage of the female students. On the effects of COVID-19 on the teaching and learning at primary and secondary education levels in Uganda. A significant number of candidates, nearly 6%, who registered for the examination did not report to take the examination. Honorable Minister, as you have already directed, Uneb will collaborate with the Ministry of Education and Sports to try and establish the causes of this absenteeism at all levels. In order to limit movements in and out of marking centers as one measure to control COVID-19 infection, the board fully implemented the system of wireless linkages between the marking centers and the data center. Processed data from the centers was therefore transmitted electronically. This measure was also in accordance with the body's objective of leveraging ICT services to support improvement in assessment and certification.
Now to comment on the quality of work of the candidates that are expected at the Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education level. The UACE examination builds on the UCE and is designed to test candidates' ability to comprehend and apply knowledge in novel or new situations, demonstrate logical reasoning skills, ability to perform scientific experiments, interpret those results, and draw conclusions arising therefrom. The questions are also set, test the candidate's ability to handle higher order tasks such as giving descriptions, explanations, analyzing situations, and evaluation of situations. So the candidates who have scored grades A and B demonstrated high levels of knowledge of the subject matter, and they were able to handle tasks that required high order skills. Their work in the practical examinations also showed ability to manipulate apparatus, ability to record observations correctly, reflecting the accuracy level of the instruments they have used, and the ability to manipulate the data generated correctly. Honorable Minister, candidates who are at the lower level demonstrated adequate to basic mastery of the subject matter. Their performance was undermined by misunderstanding of questions, inability to explain, interpret, offer logical arguments or illustrations, and to give specific examples to qualify their answers. The better answers seen from them were in those parts of the questions that are more direct and requiring more recall. Sad to say that at this level, we even still record some zeros in many of the papers that we offer. In economics and entrepreneurship education, candidates showed lack of knowledge in the very vital concepts of taxation and the stock market. There is evidence that many teachers are either also deficient in these areas or they do not teach the topics due to inadequate syllabus coverage.
I want to note that cases of malpractice at this level have remained quite low. The reported ones have been mainly external assistance given to the candidates in mathematics, biology, and computer studies. So, in accordance with Section 4.3 of the Uneb Act 2021, the board has withheld those results and will accord the affected candidates a fair hearing before a final decision is passed. Ma'am, allow me to express my gratitude. Honorable Minister, I wish to thank you greatly in ensuring that we got the necessary support to successfully complete this activity. Process this examination, particularly this Uace, was so difficult that if we did not have your support, probably we were not going to complete the marking. Because at that time, the pandemic was at its peak, and many of our activities required contact with many people who were involved. But we did our best, and with your support, as the chairperson said, we are here to tell a beautiful story. I'm equally indebted to the Ministry of Finance and Finance Planning and Economic Development for releasing the funds which we got as a supplementary in time to be able to handle the field conduct and the marking and the final processing of the results of this examination. I wish sincerely to thank the chairperson here present and members of the board for their guidance, the staff of the Ministry of Education and Sports, its agencies and other institutions who assisted Uneb in various ways during the conduct of this examination. I thank all the area supervisors out there, heads of examination centers, the scouts, the invigilators who were in the examination centers overseeing the exercise in accordance with the Ministry of Education and Sports guidelines and the standard operating procedures prescribed by the Ministry of Health.
Now with today's release, it makes a total of 1,165,024 young people that have completed primary 7, senior 4, and senior 6. It is yet again another occasion to thank God for His faithfulness. We celebrate what our young people have achieved in the face of all gloom and despondency that many of our people were driven into by the pandemic. In addition, we are very grateful that the 2020 UACE examination were conducted smoothly, just like PLE and UCE exams. We know that all this was possible because of the mercies of God, the dedication of Uneb, and the cooperation with various state agencies that always come in to support the sector whenever we are executing such undertakings. Thank you, our frontline people, the teachers, the head teachers, the parents and guardians that have walked this journey with our young people. The 2020 Uneb examinations are a testament to the fact that when we put in effort, one should not be surprised about better performance. In our continuity of learning interventions for the sector, A-level students were not availed the printed home study materials like it were for other classes. Instead, these students had limited in-person attendance of lessons from school and subsequently sitting their final exams. As you have all heard or read, maybe, the 2020 UACE performance was better than the previous cycle of 2019. From the results, you can see that 70% of the candidates in 2020, compared with the 64% in 2019, attained 2 or more principal passes to qualify them for progression for university education. On the other hand, in 2020, less than 1% of candidates, compared with 1.4% in 2019, failed to attain a satisfactory result to qualify them for progression to university or tertiary education. Now this improvement was also seen in the other 2 examinations for primary 7 and senior 4 previously released, confirms that the fact that our continuity of learning interventions during the period of school closures were really not in vain. Indeed, God continues to do good things for us. I know many people would rather not include God in what they think, but those of us who believe in Him believe that He is still able to do the impossible. So I do thank God that we have had a fair share of very good surprises this season, from better overall performance in academics for our young people who completed their 2020 end of cycle exams, as well as those that lifted our national flag high at the recently concluded 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games. Therefore, for me, I must say I'm very happy. And I am thankful to God. There are weaknesses here and there, but we cannot deny that a lot of good has happened also in this very difficult season. I am glad to note that the examination malpractices also have continued to decline. Overall, in PLE, in UCE, and now in UACE, some of you may not have realized that for 3 years in a row, there has not been leakage of examination papers. This is a great step, and I do applaud Uneb for this sustained tightening of the nuts to rid our system of such shameful vices. The figures given by Uneb also indicate an increase in the number of candidates that took sciences in 2020 compared with 2019. Now this development, as you heard from Honorable Miengo, must be applauded and encouraged. When we have more candidates taking science subjects at this level, then the prospect of taking up the places in the science-based programs at the universities and other tertiary institutions also improve. I do observe that we often present results comparing the performance of girls and boys here and there. How one sex does well and another does badly there, and sometimes magnify the unsatisfactory performance of one over the other. Honestly, we should be fighting against unsatisfactory performance in all its forms, irrespective of whether the learner is a girl or a boy, wherever they are. What worries me is when I hear and read about girls dropping out of school and being married off. To me, this is the real issue that we should boldly confront as a society. To my fellow parents and guardians, we cannot fail to play our part of nurturing our children and then blame it on government for the outcomes. Nurturing children in the home is a responsibility of the parents and guardians, not the state. When our young people are getting married off while still children, it is a sign that the parents or guardians has not fulfilled their role in the upbringing of those children. It may be convenient to blame the state as a scapegoat, but the truth is that parents must play their role. The earlier this truth is realized, the better our society will be. It is for this reason that I must commend those parents whose daughters became pregnant, but their parents committed to return them to school at the earliest opportunity after they delivered the children. That determination gives me the hope that those learners who did not return to school at this level for various reasons will still return to school to continue with their education. I want to encourage them to do so because our education system does offer a second chance to all who want to take that chance. The role of parents and guardians notwithstanding, as I have said before, there are indeed challenges within our education system that can only be addressed as the quality of our teachers improve. I have shared experiences and examples with my technical people of schools that are doing much better because they have invested in the quality of their teachers. In quality, I'm not referring to just attainment of further academic qualifications, but the training of the head, the heart, and hands, as I have said many times before. Therefore, as a sector, we're doing everything possible to develop strategic partnerships with entities that are reputable enough to help us with the training and sharpening the training of our teachers. I congratulate those who have performed well in this examination. While the attraction of university education appears to remain strong, I still want to appeal to our young people to consider taking advantage of the opportunities available in tertiary and vocational institutions. Now, based on the overall performance we just saw, many of you have qualified to join other post-secondary institutions that are not necessarily universities. So you can join teacher training colleges, technical training colleges, health training institutions to pursue diverse careers paths. Please interest yourselves in what is offered in our technical and vocational options also. To those who did not achieve as well as expected, I encourage you not to despair and not to give up. There is always another chance, please explore other pathways that are available in our education system and not just the academic one. And that is not to say that I discourage the academic one, but I'm saying that many who go for these academic qualifications come through the universities and then fail to be employed. That's why I try to encourage our young people also to consider other areas of training which may be easy for employment for themselves and for others. If you keep yourself safe and healthy, you still have time ahead of you to explore many other opportunities in life. In talking about safety, let me continue to remind head teachers, principals, and heads of other education institutions of learning to mobilize your respective teachers, critical non-teaching staff, and learners above 18 years of age to go for their COVID-19 vaccination jab as vaccines become available. I have engaged with the Minister of Health, and she agrees with me that when the next consignment of vaccines arrive, which I believe has happened, vaccination posts shall be extended to schools, to universities, and tertiary institutions. Yes, and we hope that this will reduce the congestion at the current centers where COVID-19 vaccines are being offered. Therefore, I urge our teachers to do this for yourselves, for the children that you teach, and for your families also. The sooner we get many of you vaccinated, the sooner we will reopen our education institutions of learning. I want our media to please take note of this and re-echo what we have said here and help us to mobilize our teachers and our learners above the 18 years old to take seriously the vaccination, because really that will enable us now to open education institutions. As part of our strategy for progression of learners to the next level, the ministry shall be providing the specific dates for the selection exercise for Senior 1, Senior 5, and first years for universities and tertiary institutions. It is now my pleasure to release the results of the 2020 Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education for public use. And here we are. Here we are.